is Don, and he worked in the Air Force.
This is your Air Force letter. My name is Bruce Weinecke. I served in the United States Navy during the Korean conflict. I was an Airedale, served on a shore-based station and 2 aircraft carriers.
I'm actually representing my 3 daughters' big brother, Blake. He is a U.S. Army Airborne Ranger. And basically what that is a highly trained, like most military are, combat warrior. He jumps out of perfectly functioning airplanes and does crazy things, and I can't really explain to you because it wouldn't be fitting. God bless Blake and all of our veterans.
This is my grandpa, Charlie Krebs, and he was in the Air Force in the Korean War.
This is my grandpa, and he was served in the Navy. This is my grandpa, Bill, and he was in the Navy. This is my dad, and he was in the Navy. This is my papa, and he was in the Army. This is my dad, and he was in the Army. This is my grandpa, and he was in the Army in the Vietnam War. This is my grandpa, Vince, and he was in the Army. This is my grandpa, and he was in the Army in Vietnam. This is my grandpa, and he was in the Marine Corps. This is my grandpa, and he was in the Army. This is my grandpa, and he was in the U.S. Army.
Okay, Luke wants me to say for him, I'm his grandpa, and I was in the Army.
This was my grandpa, and he was in the U.S. Army. This is my papa, and he was in the Army. This is my grandpa, and he served in the Marine Corps.
Okay. This is my grandpa.
And he was in the Army.
This is my grandpa, Ron Ledger, and he served as a Marine in the Vietnam.
This is my grandpa, and he served in the Air Force in the Vietnam.
I flew as a gunner on AC-130 gunships supporting our troops in Southeast Asia.
This is my grandpa, and he served in the Army. This is my grandpa, John, and he served in the Navy.
This is my grandpa, and he served in the army. This is my grandpa, and he served in the army.
My name is Jay Smith, and I served in the United States Army during the Vietnam War.
This is my grandpa and Uncle Jim, and they served in the army. This is my grandpa, and he served in the Coast Guard. This is my grandpa, and he was in the United States Air Force during Vietnam.
Hi, I'm Gabe Smith's mom, and I served in the U.S. Army Nurse Corps.
This is my grandpa, and he served as a paratrooper in the U.S. Army and the Korean War. This is my dad, and he served in the army. This is our friend Mike Treon, and he served in the army. This is my grandpa, and he served in the army. This is my uncle, and he served in the army. This is my grandpa, and he was in the Vietnam War in the army. My grandpa couldn't make it today, but he served in the army. This is my grandpa Bob, and he served in the Marines. This is my dad, and he served in the U.S. Navy.
Hi, I'm Adeline's Aunt Trisha, and I served in the Air Force.
This is my mom and dad, and they served in the army. This is my grandpa, and he served in the army. This is my grandpa, and he was in the army. This is my grandpa, and he was in the army. This is my grandpa, and he was ill, and he was in the army. This is my grandpa, and he served in the U.S. Air Force. This is my great-grandpa, and he was in the Marines, and he was in World War II. This is my grandpa David, and he worked in the army. This is my grandpa and my Uncle Joe. They were in the army. This is my dad's girlfriend, and she was in the Air Force.
This is my Uncle Vincent. He was in the U.S. Marine Corps.
I'm Jason Richardson's father, same name, I was in the Army.
This is my grandpa, and he was in the Army in Vietnam. This is my mom and dad, and they served in the Air Force. This is my papa Danny, and he served in the Army in Vietnam. This is my grandpa, and he served in the Army. This is my dad, and he served in the Air Force. This is my dad, and he served in the Air Force. This is my great-grandpa, and he was in the Army.
I'm Alex Reeder's dad, and I served in the Army. I'm Hazel Thompson's grandpa, and I served Navy in Vietnam. I'm Hazel's papa, and I served in the Air Force.
This is my uncle, and he was in the Army. This is my grandpa Ed, and he served in the Navy. This is my neighbor Bill, and he served in the Navy. This is my papa. He served in the Air Force, and he was a forecaster for 23 years. Did everyone get a chance to introduce their veterans? Okay.
I'm the great-grandpa, and I served in the Army. This is Steve, my great-granddaughter, and Lucas.
Gabe brought his great grandpa, and you served in the Army. Nate is still looking for grandma. Is grandma here? All right. What did you know what she served in? The Army? You know.
My grandpa and Grammy were served in the Navy.
This is my father, and he is in the Marine.
Is there anyone back there who didn't get to? We'd like to salute the services. Please stand when your official song is played.
Now that you've met all of our veteran guests, it's time for Long students to stand up and say thank you.
Students, please remain standing. We would like to sing the Star Spangled Banner.
You may sit now. We would now like to call up Aiden Davitt to introduce our Veteran Day speaker.
This is my father, and he was in the Marines.
Good morning, everybody. What I'd like to do is answer 2 questions for you that I got most often this time of year when I was an elementary school teacher. First was, Mr. Davitt, what is a veteran? And I answered that in 2 ways. One was like the textbook answer, and I would say originally this was called Armistice Day to honor those who fought in World War I. Many years later, it was changed to Veterans Day to honor those for their patriotism, love of country, willingness to serve, and sacrifice. Next, I would answer it from the heart. Really, what does it mean to me as a person? And I would say it's for my Uncle Joe, right over here, amazing man, drafted United States Army. It's for Vince, United States Marine Corps, who served 12 years and now is protecting our great community of Arnold as a K-9 police officer. My grandfather, who immigrated to this country from Ireland, and when his country was attacked, the United States during Pearl Harbor, marched down to the recruiting station and said, where do I sign up to defend that great nation? For Lance Corporal Billion, United States Marine Corps, who's now going to school to learn forensic accounting. My father-in-law, Steve, United States Army drafted. And for all my brothers who I've served with. Together we served. Our willingness to sacrifice for this great nation, put ourselves in harm's way for all of you and for people around the world, where we honestly gave ourselves to the great service of this country. To me, that's what Veterans Day was. The other question I would get is, well, Mr. Davitt, what was it like to be in the Marines? So I always like to start here. These are these famous yellow footprints that all Marines start on. It's a very historic place, either on the West Coast or the East Coast. We all start in the same spot. These yellow footprints signify for me is the first steps of becoming a Marine, but also, in my opinion, the first steps of just becoming better human beings. And we had some of the best teachers in the world. At the very top of the screen are my drill instructors, and they had a very special way, as all drill instructors do, to help you learn and to grow. And had very encouraging words for us all the time. And that, but they taught us a couple of key lessons, and one of them I take with me each and every day is always give 110%. My friends and family said that's not possible. You could only give 100%. But our drill instructors taught us that a lot of times when we do things, maybe you only put 50% into whatever you're doing, maybe 70%. But our drill instructors taught us to reach inside and really pull out our hearts on our souls and really put everything we have into everything we do each and every day. In boot camp, we got to do a lot of things outside, and this is one of our obstacle courses. We call it the O course. We had to run through this thing, at the very end, climb this really tall rope that I felt like it was 100 feet in the air, but it was probably only like, I don't know, 30 feet or so, and slap the top, and then come back down. We had to do that within a time limit. The first time I tried to climb the rope, I bet I got an inch off the floor. The second time, the third time, probably by the 20th time, I finally figured out how to put my mind and body together to climb to the top. And when I slapped that piece of wood at the very top, and we had to yell something out, something hit me like a ton of bricks. Our drill instructors are always telling us that there's always going to be people with more in your life. They might have more money, they're going to be stronger than you, they have better equipment, they're faster than you, whatever it is, they're going to have more. But the difference between you and them is going to be heart. And kids, if I could teach you one thing today, that's it, is have heart. When you put your heart into it, when you put your soul into it, there's nothing you can't accomplish in this world. And our drill instructors taught us that. To put your heart, to put your soul on 110% into it, and you will be able to achieve anything. Now in boot camp, we didn't have fancy gyms or equipment to work out, so we improvised, overcome, and we adapted. We had telephone poles. So we would go out, pick the telephone pole up, about 8 of us, and we'd exercise with it, do our curls and our squats and our shoulder presses. But it taught us all to synergize and work together as one cohesive team. If I decided, I don't really want to do my job today and lift the telephone pole, all the other 7 guys are going to have to do a lot of the work for me, and it's going to hurt the team. This is a way for them to teach us about teamwork, working together, and kind of like I was saying before, putting all your soul into it. When you work together as a good, cohesive, sticky team, you can accomplish amazing things. One of the best days of my life was graduation boot camp. This is where I earned my Eagle Globe and Anchor. I became a Marine. And then there's a reason they call it the few, the proud. Not a lot of people can achieve this. I have a stack of degrees now, and I have certifications, but to me it pales in comparison to what I achieved that day. But I still carry around one of my emblems, either in my pocket, my bag, or it sits on my desk, always to remind myself each and every day, I have to put everything I am into what I do. And then, when we got out of boot camp, this is the first place we lived. It was an old, kind of broken down, World War II era Quonset hut. And I really, at first thought, wait a minute, I just graduated boot camp. They owe me something, like, a mattress, indoor plumbing, heating. I wouldn't say air conditioning because we never went anywhere with air conditioning. But also another lesson that my drill instructors taught us is always be thankful for what you have. You could always want more, but be thankful for what you have. You're indoors and it's mildly warm. Sharpening the saw was exceptionally important. Here I am. This could have been a Monday night or a Friday night, and I'm studying, I'm reading, I'm always learning more because I never know when that knowledge is going to come into play and pay off for me. So I could have been reading about mines, improvised munitions, machine guns, but I also went to the public library and checked out stacks of books. Believe it or not, I know you can't comprehend this, but that was before the internet even existed. But I also was living the life. This is a winter day. On one side of me, I've got the beach, the waves are crashing, the other side, the beautiful sand, and it's a winter day in Southern California, and I'm thinking about my friends back in Minnesota freezing as they go to class or as they work their jobs. But other days were more like this, where I'm sure all of you know, you dig a hole, you spend all day in the hole, and then you fill the hole up, you move somewhere else, and repeat that process again and again and again. They always are training you and getting ready for you. At any moment, you're going to have to be in charge. I'm 19 years old. At the time, I didn't even have a driver's license. Now they put me in charge of 10 other people and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment. They give you this old, photocopied map and said, here's your objective. This is what you have to do. Now go figure it out. They very quickly put you into a leadership position. I think those are the great life skills that we all are definitely appreciate now. And we got to see beautiful sunrises and sunsets. These are the high hills that are semi-mountains in California. Again, the downside is, though, you have to spend a whole day walking all the way up. There's nothing worse than walking up a hill. The worst thing is walking down the hill. It's 10 times worse than going up. And wherever we were, I was talking about sharpening the saw, that was where our classroom was. We're in a big fog bank. There's a lot of clouds. We couldn't shoot that day, so we broke out some of the ammunition here, and we started learning and understanding how to operate in different conditions. So we were always constantly learning. There was never really any downtime. The most magical place I've ever been in my entire life is the jungle. If you ever can get there, I'd recommend going. In the noon, when the sun is over your head and you go into the jungle, it's still dark. So at nighttime, just like how exceptionally dark it always is there. There are leaves as big as a man. The other thing, at nighttime, you start to notice on the ground, there's leaves that have died and are rotting, but there's phosphorus in them, and they glow in the dark. And now, moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas, do you ever say that, you walk uphill both ways, going to school or whatever it is? That actually is real in the jungle. We went on, easily, you could walk 5 miles this way, and you're going uphill most of the time. Most of the time, you're going uphill. You turn around, you come back this way, you're going uphill again. I don't know why, but it's like a magical world. So, of course, we are in the hot, steamy jungle, and we get on a plane, and we land, and we get out to this, freezing cold. So a lot of us don't know how to ski. We stumble around with our equipment. We're trying to learn how to ski. But then here's the Japanese Ground Self-Defense Force. This is a Sunday afternoon. They start coming out of their barracks. We don't really speak Japanese. They didn't really speak English, but they started helping us. I think this single lesson has stuck with me my whole life because it showed me that no matter what country you are, people are good, they're wholesome, and they want the same things we do. I always like to say home is where the heart is. No matter where we were, we always made it as comfortable as possible. This is a little metal hut in the middle of the desert. I think only the military would think a metal hut in a desert is a good idea. And then what do you put behind the metal hut is the helipad. So all the helicopters are landing day and night and blowing through like a sandstorm all the way through this little thing we lived in. But we made it home. And we had to appreciate the small times. We spent about 30 hours trucking through the desert in this Amtrak. It was absolutely freezing cold, shivering the whole entire time. And we were able to, about 4 in the morning here, go outside at the Amtrak and make a cup of coffee. And we all know that it's not really coffee, it's more like weird brown mud-like stuff. But we enjoyed it because it was hot. We also lived on this little tin can for 6 months, an absolutely tiny ship with a flat bottom. So flat bottom equals every little ripple in the water, you're gonna feel it. It was so bad that we lived in bunk beds, so stacked 4 high. So when the seas got rocking, people would constantly fall out of bed. But the one thing is, I used to sneak out in the morning and go right there, and I could watch the sunrise and the sunset, and it was amazing. There's other times in the middle of the ocean, it's as clear and as smooth as glass. Our ship was so small, we could only land a helicopter on it temporarily. So that is how we got all of our groceries when we were in the middle of the sea. Think of how many loaves of bread and gallons of milk could fit in that thing. We also had to really think ahead and plan ahead because we were on a ship that was operating 24 hours a day, so they would give us jobs to do to keep us occupied and busy. So this is on mess duty. You have to be very proactive because 4 times a day, you're feeding hundreds of people. But other times it wasn't so bad. This was the best duty. It's called breakouts. So you go to the bottom of the ship and you live in a little cage for about a week. And anytime they were cooking something, somebody would come down and say, I need, say, pizza spices. And you would sign them out and send it up. But you know how you're making pasta at home? You have a little Italian seasoning and you sprinkle a little bit into your pasta sauce and you mix it up. Well, when we sent pizza spices up to the kitchen, it was as big as a pillow. That's how many people we were serving. This is from 11 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, and 11 at night to 2 in the morning. I get to stand behind this machine gun and stare out at the absolute open empty for a week straight. It was kind of boring at first until I realized that I don't have a book. Obviously there was no cell phones at the time, but it allowed me to think and spend time just thinking in my head. I would reread stories in my head, look for plot lines. I would write little short stories, long stories, letters home. I would design and think all in my head because there was nothing else I could do. And that taught me to this day, there's no such thing as a wasted time or there's only wasted opportunities. Even when I go to a meeting, and we all know and love long meetings, I always think when I sit down there's a nugget in here that I have to get out. I'm here for a reason. I got to find why I'm here, get that little nugget of information or that little seed, and then later plant it in my head so I can grow it. And so in the military, there's times that are very scary, a lot of unknowns. So we got inside this track in a ship and we were going to go splash into the ocean, go off the coast of Africa to Somalia and go do a little beach invasion. So we loaded up here and we have all kinds of implements of destruction and whatnot in our track. The door closes up and we're waiting, bobbing through the ocean, waiting for this certain noise to happen so you can run out to your defensive position. And when we landed in Somalia, this is all we saw. So anybody who spent any time in a desert knows 10 minutes a day, it's beautiful. 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at night, The temperature is perfect. It is like if you could just capture and live in those 5 minutes, it would be awesome. But at even opposite sides to that, it's either absolutely freezing cold or absolutely boiling hot. And this is a few hours later, still laying pretty much in the same position, sweating. But this picture, I think, could sum up every single one of our combined experiences in the military. It's hurry up and wait. So you're always hurrying up to something and you're waiting and you're waiting. So we laid right here for probably a good 5 hours, just sweating in 120-degree sun. And then we moved about 500 meters and we waited for a few more hours. And that's my buddy Johnson. He still claims that he's just resting his eyes. But we have, like I said before, you have to always celebrate the small things. We're baking in the sun, but now we're up against the stand track. There's a little tiny sliver of shade. So what we're doing is just resting in the shade. It's still probably 120 degrees. The sand is so hot to touch, and this big track is radiating heat. But that's why I'm smiling, because you know what? I'm not in the baking sun. I'm still boiling hot, but you just have to celebrate the small things. In conclusion, I want to say that here are a bunch of my brothers up here on the screen that I think in a moment's notice we would go back in time and do it all over again, like I'm sure all the veterans in this room would do. But veterans, I want to just leave you with one thing at the end, just a challenge that I know all of us know. A lot of vets that we served with, we still talk to some of them, and some of them are still struggling and suffering today with things they had experienced in peacetime or in war. Just reach out to them today of all days. Let them know that you're there and help them get the support that they so deserve and that they earned. Semper Fi, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dan, for speaking today in your service.
We want to thank everyone for joining us today. The video of our veterans that was shown in the beginning of the assembly will be shown in the library.
Veterans and our guests are invited to stop and get their photo taken. There are 2 photo spots, one by each exit, by Mr. Strauss and by me.
After you get your picture taken, please proceed to the library for a reception. Again, thank you for sharing this very special day with us. We hope you have a wonderful Veterans Day.